Hello everyone, today I'm doing a very different video, because it's not a shitty clip video, it's not some gaming video, it's a commentary video. Wow, no way, Coney gives his crap takes on things. Well, actually I don't think this take of mine is crap, because today I'll be talking about Under the Mayo. Who is he? Well, it's simple. He is someone who is notorious for shit takes on games that aren't Doom Eternal. He always complains about something. And the worst thing is, he's an extremely close-minded individual. He defends and sucks off Doom Eternal, and even if someone brings up Doom Eternal to reflect his argument instead is just that that person's wrong, and that's it. It's really not a fun person to be with, I imagine. So today, I'll be looking at his video on Dying Light that, yeah, came out over a year ago. But the reason why I'm making a video about this and not something like Ultra Kill is because there are a lot of videos about Ultra Kill and his shit take on that, and I have not seen anyone make a video on this. In fact, the only way I found out about it was about that I heard someone say in their video that Mayo talked about Dying Light. So I watched this video, and maybe aside from a few fair points, the rest of it is bullshit once again. Mayo is surprisingly an individual who, despite being probably a lot older than I am, has absolutely no patience for games. He always complains games have really long intros, he complains that nothing is happening, he complains that the game is boring, and that's kind of his thing, which you're gonna see in this video anyway.
Wow, this is a long intro. Lots of walking around and talking to people. Pretty soon it became apparent that the characters are fairly uninteresting, and I became worried that I wasn't gonna have much to invest in as I spent the next hours in the world.
And you're saying that after like, what, a few minutes of playtime? Yes, Dying Light does have boring and bland and uninteresting characters, but saying that only after seeing the intro is pretty stupid.
Finally, I got outside, where I started experimenting with the parkour system, and I gotta say, I like it a lot. It's responsive, it's liberating, it's satisfying. I'm just jumping and climbing all over the place, it's great. I started exploring the map instead of following the objective.
Keep what he just said in mind, as that will come in handy later.
But I couldn't do much with all the stuff I was finding, so after a while I got bored with exploring.
Why you couldn't do much is because you probably didn't have any blueprints to use your materials in, and that is because you haven't done enough exploring.
Especially since so much of the map looked the same to me. Everything is brown, and it's just huts and panels everywhere.
Now this is actually a pretty fair criticism of the game. Dying Light does reuse a lot of its assets, mainly to save developer time and resources, but there are still a few interesting places that stand out in Haran, like the highway or the bridge, and this is just the slums.
Not a very fun place to be.
Meant to be. This is a zombie apocalypse. It's a city taken over by zombies. Why the hell would you think it's fun to be in there?
It's nice to see Dying Light 2 showing off some more variety to the visuals, because this was definitely a turnoff for me.
Funny that you say that, because I and many other people think that Dying Light 2 actually uses way more assets than the first game. The insides of the buildings especially look pretty much identical no matter where you are.
I found a few crappy melee weapons, and they didn't feel good to use at all against the zombies, so I'd rather just avoid them.
You say you found crappy melee weapons and then proceed to complain they didn't feel good. Yeah, no shit. It's the beginning of the game. Why do you want to be strong at the beginning of the game?
Especially since weapons break. This is when I started to get worried. The combat didn't feel good, and it's easy to avoid zombies through parkour, so am I mostly gonna be avoiding enemies?
Because you're low level and don't have good weapons, yes, that is the intended experience. In the lore, people in Haran survive because spiders can't climb, and zombies like virals and volatiles are much more dangerous because they can climb.
Despite my concerns, I didn't want to judge the game too early.
You literally did just judge it though.
Ghost of Tsushima has loads of side missions to explore, and so I did that. Cyberpunk has a bunch of side missions, so I did them. And they never left me feeling satisfied. I just felt like I was dicking around most of the time. This time, in Dying Light, I wasn't gonna make that mistake. I'm going right for the meat of the experience. Main story objectives.
And this is where Mayo contradicts himself. First, you say that you were having fun with the parkour system and exploration of the city, yet then you say you want to go to the meat of the experience? So tell me, do you want to explore the city and have fun that way, or do you want to do the objectives? It doesn't make any sense.
Objectives were frequently found on the opposite side of the map, and there was no way to get there quickly, so large portions of my playtime were spent with empty running. Just running from one part of the map to the other, not fighting anyone, jumping across rooftops.
You know that in the open world, there is a choice for you. You can either engage in combat and fight with enemies, or not. The fact that you say that it's just empty running while you're fighting is your fault entirely. There are plenty of encounters, whether it be race, man, or just zombies trying to eat someone. You can save those people and get some nice rewards.
It's not like we're in a magnificent GTA city where you don't mind driving for 5 minutes to reach the next objective, cause there's sights to see and a living world to interact with. One place in Dying Light feels like all the others, to me.
Once again, this is probably because of the game's art direction. Haran is a dead and bland city because it's supposed to be. You're right, it's not like in GTA where there is a whole ass community to explore. This is a city taken over by a zombie virus with no one alive in it.
I'd use some of my items, medkits if necessary, and they're replenished by crafting, which I really wasn't in the mood for.
What do you mean you were in the mood for? Crafting in Dying Light is as simple as pressing the button. I think what you wanted to say here is that you weren't in mood for exploration, which I would kind of understand.
Yeah, it makes sense for the survival setting of the game. Doesn't mean I'm gonna find it fun, though.
Once again, I think you're referring to the exploration, as crafting in the game is just point and click.
Even if I'm really enjoying a game up to a certain point, when I see a bunch of scavenging for different materials, I'm out.
Oh, that means you don't exactly like 90% of open world games. That must suck for you because they're pretty fun.
However, I love Factorio, a game that's basically all about crafting. So, explain that one to me.
Here's the explanation. You're fucking stupid. Factorio is more of a city builder than anything, and Dying Light is an open world RPG. The fact that you compare these both shows just how fucking stupid you are. No, seriously, this comparison pisses me off so much because it's retarded.
Once the nighttime mechanic was presented, things were looking up. It was an intense and stressful mission where I was trying my hardest to survive. That's what I'd been looking for. But after that first mission, I realized that night missions are optional, and you can just rest until morning and complete missions in the daytime.
Yeah, you can also not rest and sleep and complete them in the daytime, and instead complete them during nighttime, which makes the experience harder and more exciting.
It just said that I get more XP for doing night missions, so no thanks. XP for what? I'm avoiding most of the combat anyway.
This is once again completely your choice, although during nighttime fighting enemies is ill-advised as they attract volatiles, which, with your weapons and level, would be a fucking nightmare to defeat.
I said earlier that I was worried about the characters feeling boring as the game went on, and I think I was right about that. The more I played, the more unlikable everyone became, and I just had to stop paying attention to whatever they said and focus on the missions.
Now, if you brought this point up right now, I wouldn't actually fuck you over for it, because it's a pretty fair criticism once you're halfway through the game, but saying that at the beginning is pretty stupid.
I find the checkpoint system to be bizarre. If you die in the middle of a mission and you go back to the spawn point and run back, the enemies you killed remain dead. So you can pretty much just beat your head against the wall over and over and bully your way through mindlessly.
There is a consequence for dying though, a consequence that gets harsher on the harder difficulty you're playing on is. And that is losing Survivor XP, and I also think you lose other XP, I'm not sure. Meaning you lose progress towards your next level, which might be crucial to make your experience not just more fun, but probably just a lot better.
There is a penalty for dying, a deduction of your survival skill XP, but so what? Even with multiple deaths per mission, my survival level is still my highest level, so who cares?
That's probably because you're playing on either a very low difficulty, or because the survivor rank is really easy to level up. Just get a few drops and bring in a quartermaster. That gives so much XP you can literally grind legend levels on it.
And it's not like the game isn't challenging, it is. At times it can be really tough. I died plenty.
Oh yeah, it is so tough to mash F, am I right, Mayo? In this scenario, you could literally just put the biter away, and given the other zombies wouldn't attack you, you could run to the safe zone and you'd be fine.
There were some really high-level expensive weapons at the store, and even after 10 hours, I couldn't afford one. Unless I went around for another few hours just killing dumbass zombies, farming resources, and scavenging for cash, which at that point I was completely over. 'Cause I don't enjoy fighting anyone.
You don't have to fight to get cash. Coffee sells for $200 each, and it's probably the best way to get money in the game. And in one of the side quests, you literally just get put into a store that gives you a ton of coffee. Go and sell that, and you can probably buy one of those high-tier weapons. Which, speaking about, probably you're not having fun, probably because you're using shit weapons like a table leg. Go buy a military machete or find one, and modify it, and I guarantee your experience will be a lot better.
And with no HP bar over the enemies' heads, I really struggle to have any sense of how much damage I'm dealing.
I can't fucking believe he just said that. Oh boy. You see, the reason why there aren't any health bars above enemies' heads is because Dying Light goes for a more realistic setting. And additionally, this is something that a lot of people, myself included, complained about when Dying Light 2 was being showcased. Plus, you can tell that you're doing at least some damage because when you hit enemies with a weapon and there's damage that appears on them. If you're using a sharp weapon, that is a slit. If you're using a blunt weapon, it's a bruise.
Some of the people who were watching me play were telling me that the game is actually a lot of fun. I was just playing it in a boring way. To which I say, that's not on me.
That is 100% on you. See, this is exactly what is wrong with Mayo. It happens in every single game that is not Doom Eternal. He plays the game in the most boring and uninteresting way, and then proceeds to complain that the game is boring. This is what happened with Ultrakill, with Trepang, and now with Dying Light. In Ultrakill, he was just using the Piercer, which, yeah, no shit, is boring because you can't do any combos with it, and it's a pretty slow way to get through the game. Here, in Dying Light, he decides to use shit melee weapons and not even level himself up. The higher your level is, the more really interesting and useful skills you unlock. Skills that let you insta-kill some enemies, like a takedown, or if an enemy is laying low on the ground, you can finish them off. It not only makes the experience more fun, but also way more satisfying.
Allow me to take this moment to officially state that I am not a member of the It Gets Better Club. I'm not talking about the organization that helps bullied gay kids. I'm talking about the people who defend some games, usually open world RPGs, by saying it gets better after 40 hours or some crap like that.
But you don't have to spend 40 hours in Dying Light to make it fun. Get a buddy and the game becomes way more fun right away. Get two more and the game is a fucking fun fest. Also, there are some free DLCs like Harayan Prison, which not only are challenging and fun to complete, especially with other people, but also reward you with a lot of weapons the higher difficulty you're playing on is.
No, I don't have time for that. I've got 2 jobs, hobbies, a social life.
That's literally cap, bro.
A review. I'm way too biased to talk sensibly about this game.
I cannot believe he said that. Can we play that again?
A review. I'm way too biased to talk sensibly about this game.
Mayo becomes self-aware, episode 1. Good for him. Honestly, saying I am way too biased to talk sensibly about this game is probably what you can say about every single one of your videos. It is always the exact same case, and it wasn't any different with Dying Light. Luckily, we're already done with this shit video, and I'm glad because I was starting to get really bored. Just like you are practically playing any other video game than Doom Eternal. This is the first time I'm doing a video like this, and I kind of did it out of necessity. I mean, I was just interested if I could make a video like this, and now that I am finally done, I want to see what people think about it. I don't have much against Mayo, I just think he's just stupid, and I am not a big fan of stupid people. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.